Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the South Devon Primary again, a model for helping people maximise the power of their vote to remove unpopular Conservative MPs from their constituencies by bypassing the Tory protections inherent in the first past the post system that we still use. And the project has been given a little bit of extra attention via a comment piece in The Guardian, which I also want to discuss. This is a big part of how we're not only going to stop the Conservatives remaining in power, but even stop them being the official opposition. It can happen, and these primaries are part of the way to do that. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So I've discussed the South Devon Primary before, and despite the name, it's a model for helping anti-Tory tactical voting in dozens of constituencies. It takes the form of inviting candidates from the main progressive parties in England to attend a series of public meetings or primaries all over the constituency to make their pitch to the people as to why they should be adopted as a sort of official anti-Tory champion for the tactical votes. People who attend the public meetings listen to them, vote, and those votes are collated after all of the primaries have taken place and the winner publicised and supported by the non-partisan group behind them. And as the group themselves say, and which is mentioned in the Guardian article, it's a very important point, this is a model specifically for constituencies where the tactical vote is not obvious. You wouldn't do it in a constituency where it is obvious. You'll just risk splitting it. So if people are worried, oh no, this will just split the tactical vote, this method is used in areas where it is split anyway. It's a way of trying to get as many people who want to vote tactically against the Tories to do so for a single candidate. For example, there are dozens of constituencies where current polling cannot tell you whether Labour or the Lib Dems would be best to challenge the Conservatives. And because these seats tend not to be top targets for either Labour or the Lib Dems or the Greens, come to that, that's probably not going to change come the election. You know, in most seats it is clear. In most seats it's clear. And when that's the case, South Devon Primary say that their model's not helpful. They and I come to it, recommend stopthetories.vote, the website, for those just wanting to know who their tactical vote is. However, although I'm happy to see George Monbiot writing a piece in the project for The Guardian, I'm just going to pick on a couple of minor mistakes that he made. So first of all, the headline, a revolution in the way Britain does politics has begun in Devon. Tory MPs should be afraid. They are afraid. Tory MPs have been attacking the South Devon Primary for months as undemocratic. What is undemocratic about it? It involves getting voters together to discuss how our political system works and how they can all agree to work together to use their votes differently if the system isn't working in their favour. I can't imagine anything more democratic. But the Conservatives are the one pushing the Rwanda plan, for example, claiming that it's the will of the people, when there is absolutely no public mandate for it, no referendum, no manifesto promise, nothing. The Conservative Party are the most undemocratic political party in Westminster. That's not just my view, that is the view of a great many people. Allow me to demonstrate. This South Devon Primary project was very well attended over the weeks it was taking place. There was a lot of local support, and if there are non-partisan groups in similar constituencies who use the same model, those will also be well attended as well. There's a lot of people out there engaging with this. In fact, by delaying the election until autumn, if indeed that's what happens, the Tories are basically encouraging more groups like this to get moving. But we've also seen evidence of lots of tactical voting in by-elections as well. Now, if people will vote tactically in a by-election, which can only really just send a message, can't change the government, how much more will people vote tactically to actually obliterate the party in a general election? So we know that there are a lot of people who will vote tactically against the Tories. Now ask yourselves, why is that? It's not just because they've been in power for a long time and people want a change. When the Tories lost in 1997, there was a lot of anti-Tory tactical voting taking place. When Labour lost in 2010, there's not really anti-Labour tactical voting taking place. Anti-Labour tactical voting does not take place on any significant level. Only anti-Tory tactical voting. Why? Because the Tories stand alone as being wholly undemocratic. Individuals in other parties can sometimes lose their connection with voters, getting stuck in a tunnel vision on policies, but they all believe that they're doing their best for the people. Not so with the Tories. We are serfs to them. It's an affront that they should even have an election. This is why there is the demand for a project like the South Devon Primary. Most voters are not partisan. I support the Labour Party, but most voters don't. They just place their votes where they think it will have the best chance of doing good. And most voters know that isn't with the Conservative Party. So tell them that candidate X has the best chance of beating the Conservatives and X gets their vote. But who is X? In Rishi Sunak's constituency, polling is clear. It's the Labour candidate. In Jeremy Hunt's constituency, polling is also clear. It's the Liberal Democrat candidate. In Kemi Badenoch's constituency, it's not clear. Polling has Labour and the Lib Dems very close to one another. And it's not going to be a three-horse race. There may be the odd three-horse race. This isn't one of them. If tactical votes are split between the Labour and Lib Dem candidates, Badenoch wins all day long. But there is a group trying to apply this model in Badenoch's constituency as well. Rishi Sunak, by making it sound like he might delay the election into autumn, is very kindly helping them get more time to not only hold the primaries, but publicise the results with an extra half a year of campaigning. Very sporting of the Tories to give us more time to organise voters against some of their safest seats. Because this year there are technically no safe seats. If you look at the share of the vote predicted in polls, forget about the 2019 results, complete aberration. I particularly lean heavily on the large MRP poll which YouGov produced early this year, and things have gotten worse for the Tories since then. Not a single seat is safe for them. Not a single seat looks like giving any Tory candidate more than 40% of the vote. They're all there for the taking. So right now, the only relatively safe seats are those where local voters who want to kick the Tory candidate out do not know who to back in order to oust that Conservative incumbent. These primaries help with that by giving ownership of the process to local voters. It says, look, your natural voting behaviour will split the anti-Tory vote. So why don't we all have a discussion and then you decide who the tactical vote should be? Cannot imagine anything more democratic. Other than perhaps an electoral system which allows people to vote naturally without the need for tactical voting. But that is for later. Right now we have a first past the post system which necessitates tactical voting in many places. But the second issue I'll pick on with the article was basically a very good article, by the way. It covered all the main elements. But another little point was the disdain that the major parties have against this. Now, Monbiot says, he mentions the reaction of the Lib Dems, for example, which I'd heard about as well. It was a little bit extreme. And you won't see Labour or the Greens backing the project either. And that is not because they're short-sighted in this regard. Some individuals within those parties may be. It's because they know that many of their supporters are very tribal. There are some people in my party who, if you talk about the prospect of the Lib Dems taking lots of Tory seats, they don't see that as a benefit. They're not rubbing their hands with glee. Oh, they're all the same. Where have I heard that before? You have the same sort of attitudes in all political parties as well. You've got these very partisan, but also very tribal people, you know, who have this attitude. There are no consolation prizes. It's very self-defeating. You know, for as far as they're concerned, either their party wins or their party doesn't win. There's no consolation prize. Some people say that Labour and the Lib Dems should enter a formal pact of standing down candidates to give the other a clear run in seats where only one of them can challenge. Conservatives call this undemocratic as well. But they actively negotiated with the Brexit Party in 2019 for this exact same pact, which allowed a clear run for the seats they won in 2017, paving the way for the majority they enjoy now. But Labour and the Lib Dems will never do this because it would cause a massive fuss amongst both of their supporters. So it's left to non-partisan groups to organise tactical voting to the benefit of Labour, the Lib Dems, potentially even the Greens in a couple of seats. Monbiot implies that it's bad that people are having to organise campaigns like this because politicians should do so. No, that's wrong. Politicians should change the system so we don't have to do this. But given the system we currently have, I think it's brilliant that we have people-powered, non-partisan campaigns like this. Politics is already too tribal. The more non-partisan groups there are that are trying to... I mean, what do non-partisan groups don't like the party political system really anyway? So what are they trying to do? They're trying to pull communities together. The more of these groups are involved in the process, the better. And I say that as someone who is very partisan, but also as someone who hates tribalism in politics. Like, I am Labour, but I will happily work with those in other parties on commonly agreed policies. I'll work with the Lib Dems on pushing for electoral reform. When I next go to a rejoin the EU march, I would love to march alongside Conservatives wanting the same thing. There are things we have in common with those in other parties, and we can work with them on those things, because if we do that, we make those things more likely. And then we can oppose them on the things we don't like. We don't have to turn politics into a civil war all the time, because when you do, only the Tories win. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.